Hey everyone, I'm Asher, and welcome back to the Filmcast. Today I will be reading the second story of my cryptic monster universe, Siren Head. This story is not only based off the famous Siren Head character created by Trevor Henderson, but the story itself is based off a Siren Head video game, which I used as inspiration to write the story. With that out of the way, let's get into Siren Head. The story starts with an 18-year-old man driving into a campsite named South Point Meadows, which is in the middle of a large forest. The man, whose name is revealed to be Freddy, is driving to join his friends for a nice night of camping. Freddy arrives at a gate, gathers his equipment, and begins walking on a trail. While walking, Freddy hears what sounds like a tornado siren playing in the distance. But he remembers that a siren is present in the forest and thinks it's just a test being conducted, so he continues on his journey. Freddy walks for a few more hours, and when it starts getting dark outside, he gets concerned as he begins getting lost. Freddy soon hears his friends talking and calling for him, so he follows the sounds and sees a fire with a tent and an opening in the forest. Freddy arrives at the campsite only to find that there is nobody there, which confuses him, but then suddenly he hears what sounds like a news broadcast coming from beyond the trees. The broadcast talks about a group of campers going missing in South Point Meadows. Freddy is disturbed by this, but becomes even more horrified when the broadcast says the names of the missing campers. And it's the names of all of his friends. Freddy then finds blood all over the tent, which scares him so bad he starts running away with the intent of getting back to his car, but eventually he just gets lost in the woods. During his run through the forest, Freddy starts hearing sounds which sounds like human screams, terrifying roars, and even the tornado siren he heard from earlier. And the sounds seem to be coming from everywhere. Freddy eventually spots a ranger watchtower and starts making his way, hoping to find a radio to call for help, but upon getting to the top, finds the door locked. After a few good kicks, Freddy manages to kick the door down and finds the inside of the tower in tatters. The interior of the tower has a bed flipped over, a locker knocked on its floor, a rifle on the ground, and a table turned on its side. Freddy also finds a radio, but it's out of power. Luckily for him, though, he sees a radio tower in the distance, which he hopes has a generator that he can use to restore power to the radio and then use it to call for help. After arming himself with a rifle, Freddy descends the tower, but stops when he hears the mysterious news broadcast coming from the forest again. This time, the broadcast says that the body of one of Freddy's friends has been found dead, which horrifies him. Despite this heartbreaking news, Freddy presses on, and once he gets to the ground, starts making his way to the radio tower. Freddy once again hears the mixture of horrific sounds, which scares him, but soon he stops when he hears a new sound. Freddy raises the rifle and starts looking around as the stomping gets closer and closer, and soon he sees what's causing the heavy stomping. Approaching him is a creature unlike any other. This creature has a name, Siren Head. This creature is 40 feet tall, has long legs and arms that almost reach the ground. He has a long, narrow body with a skeletal-like shape and is covered in dry, mummified skin, which is brown in color. Siren Head's most prominent feature, however, is the presence of a flesh-covered pole with two sirens fused to it standing on where a human head would be, hence the name Siren Head. Siren Head approaches Freddy and reaches out to grab him, but Freddy manages to fight the beast off with a few rounds from the rifle. Freddy takes the opportunity to run to the radio tower after Siren Head retreats, but upon reaching the tower, discovers a cellar and the bloody corpse of a person he identifies as one of his friends. Freddy enters the cellar, finds the generator, and then activates it, but before leaving, he also collects more ammo for his rifle. Freddy gets out of the cellar, but then gets horrified when the news broadcast comes back, this time with a rather disturbing message. This time, the broadcast says that not only can the campers not be found, but also says that Freddy was responsible for their disappearance. After which, the broadcast mutters, "We know what you did, Freddy. We're coming for you." Freddy is unnerved by this, as he realizes that Siren Head was actually the one making all the broadcasts, and he starts running back to the watchtower. During his run, Freddy is once again confronted by Siren Head emerging from the trees and walking towards him. Just like before, Freddy is able to fight the creature off with rifle fire, though this only slows it down rather than killing it. Freddy continues running while hearing the sirens in the distance and makes it to the tower. Upon reaching the top, uses the radio and gets contacted by a police officer. The officer tells Freddy to meet him at the end of the trail because the squad cars can't go any further into the forest. Freddy listens to the commands given to him and starts running through the trail. During his trek, Freddy keeps hearing Siren Head seemingly everywhere, but doesn't actually see him anywhere. Soon, the sirens, screams, and roars stop. And instead, Freddy hears police sirens in the distance, which he begins running to. Freddy starts getting relieved hearing the police sirens and starts getting hopeful as it seems that rescue is so close, but things then take a sudden and sinister change. As the sound of the police siren is seemingly right in front of Freddy, it cuts off and is replaced by the emergency broadcast siren heard earlier. Freddy realizes it was all a trick, but it's too late as Siren Head, now on all fours, emerges from the dark and charges at Freddy at fast speed. As Siren Head attacks him, the screen cuts to black and Freddy's screams are heard. The story ends. And as the credits roll, a news broadcast explains a whole group of teenagers have gone missing in South Point Meadows, and authorities have been unsuccessful in finding them. So that was Siren Head. As you may have noticed, this story was rather short, much shorter than the previous stories I've written. And that's because the next series of stories that I wrote that all take place in the Cryptic Monster universe are actually short stories rather than full-long ones like the Monsterverse ones I wrote. With that said, I hope you enjoyed today's story. Be sure to like and subscribe, and join me next time when I read the next story, The Russian Sleep Experiment. Until then, peace out.